Hi guys, it's Ben from TX Space Station. How's everyone doing? So one of the Metal Jesus Rocks crew has got himself into some controversy this week, and watching the kind of backlash against him got me thinking a little bit about this topic. So today I'm going to be asking the question, is it best to just ignore serious topics on YouTube for those of us who are in the YouTube gaming community? I think it's kind of apparent to almost everybody who spent any time either contributing to YouTube or watching videos that YouTube has got a problem. If you need any convincing that YouTube has got a problem, go and click on a video that's got, say, 1 million views and have a 30-second read of the comments that you'll find there, and you'll pretty quickly be convinced that YouTube has got a problem. The quality of the comments on this form of social media tends to be absolutely awful, and the bigger the channel is, the more crap, the more ill-informed, the more rubbish stuff that gets posted in response to videos. That's just the case for standard stuff that's completely inane. But then if you start addressing controversial topics that have got people involved in a lot of heated debate, it gets even worse, tenfold, 100-fold worse. And there are tons of examples of YouTubers who've maybe said the wrong thing or commented on something that they were a little bit ill-informed in, and it's caused a big backlash, and it's caused an awful lot of furore and controversy that probably could have been avoided. It's funny because for the time that I've spent on Reddit, I've been really refreshed by how little crap there is on there, and I think the reason for that is because obviously the subreddits have moderators that take their little part of the internet very seriously, and there's something about that that creates an etiquette so that poor quality stuff sinks to the bottom and good quality informative comments rise to the top. And Reddit is probably one of the bits of the internet where I think the comment system and the discussion seems to be relatively civil in my experience, at least compared to what you see in the YouTube comments. I think that YouTube has got itself to blame in some ways, and this issue is partially based around how YouTube works. Obviously, the purpose of the algorithm is to generate clicks, and so videos that generate clicks are the ones that are most promoted, because they're the ones that are most profitable to Google and YouTube. Now the problem is that what generates clicks tends to be a much more exaggerated and inflammatory version of the truth, so that what we've created is actually a kind of hysterical forum for discussing anything. You know, which is more likely to get people to click on it? Is it a moderate discussion between two people who learn a lot from each other and then part their ways amicably? Or is it a social justice warrior getting destroyed or humiliated, or whatever buzzword you want to pick? It's those buzzwords and that constant hyperbole and exaggeration of the truth that's used to generate clicks. And what that means is that slowly over time, I feel like the reasonable discourse has been buried under the noise, so that so often basically any nuance is just lost in a load of shouting and debate. And when I say debate, actually, that's not even the right word, because it is just shouting your opinion louder than everybody else's, no matter how ill-informed it is. I think the big problem is that we feel as though social media replaces or can be a good surrogate for or substitute for rational, reasonable conversations between two people. But the very format in which it's done, it's just not the same, and a lot of subtlety is lost when you take away face-to-face discussion. Even posting a video, which you can see someone's facial expressions and everything else, it isn't the same as a conversation. There isn't the same ability to slightly edit what you say or slightly backtrack on what you say. On YouTube and on the internet, once you've said it, it's out there. You know, if you actually look at a real conversation, there's often a lot of listening involved, a lot of making sure that you're clear, a lot of maybe backtracking or adjusting what you're saying based on what the person you're talking to says. All of that is lost on YouTube as well. And once you take the nuance and the subtlety and the human element out of the conversation, it's just a recipe for shouting and anger. And I know from my own experience, on the times when I've tried to enter into some kind of seriousness or to challenge somebody on something that I thought was wrong, it's always gone really badly, because it can just be perceived as an attack in a way that if I was face to face, because of my facial expression and my relaxed manner, it would be clear that it isn't. But this whole thing is set up for things to get out of hand really quickly and very quickly devolve into shouting. I think there are lots of topics at the moment that people are very passionate about and that we're still finding our feet with, particularly in terms of things to do with gender stereotypes and sexism and feminism and all these things. But I think we've got to be careful to try and keep ourselves level-headed. If you happen to be one of the people that sticks your neck out, you've got to be incredibly strong, because there's likely to be a lot of name-calling. I myself has been called a feminazi, which is a really odd and unpleasant thing to be called, and I'm strong enough just to shake it off. But I actually think, and I've come to this conclusion, I think for those of us who are into gaming, it's way better just to keep your head down and not go into anything serious, anything potentially controversial, because it just isn't pleasant. I don't think this is a good forum to have that kind of discussion. Have those kind of discussions face to face or in real life, or even in some kind of debate. But there has to be more back and forth to discuss something properly than you're able to achieve on YouTube. I think in some ways this kind of conclusion is a bit sad, because there are times when my friends on YouTube and people that I watch have been real and talked really frankly about certain things, particularly some people who shared about their experience of mental health problems, and those videos have been really meaningful to me, and I've learned a lot. And it's that kind of getting to the core of a person which sometimes can make this a very intimate place. But I think that ultimately, as a YouTuber, you got to protect yourself. And do you really want strangers? Who knows who's watching your channel, and who knows who's going to comment on it? Do you really want those strangers knowing bits about your life, serious things? And secondly, do you want to open yourself up to a lot of ill-informed, judgmental, angry comments? Some of you do, and that's fine, and I think it's admirable. For me personally, looking at what's happened with the Metal Jesus Rocks crew this week, but there always seems to be something one week or another, some new hysteria going on. I think it's just best to stick on the positives. Let's talk about games. Let's talk about things that we enjoy. Let's focus purely on this as a hobby, because there are going to be loads of differences between us, and there are going to be lots of things that we disagree on, and things that we would do differently to each other. But at the end of the day, there is something that unites us all that we can get along with, and that's talking about video games. Personally, I'm developing a skepticism towards social media in general. I've deleted my Facebook account, I've deleted my Twitter accounts, because I was getting tired of all of the shouting, noisy voices that were all just saying their own things, and the narcissism and the self-involvement and the loss of decent conversation. And I think that subsequent to that, I found my mind so much clearer and so much healthier, and I think I'm going to carry that over to my YouTube as well. I'm going to try my best to keep my head down and not get dragged into these kind of debates, and just focus on this really fun thing, which is video games, and all of the things that we have in common rather than the things that separate us. So I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Is it best to just avoid discussing serious topics on here, or do you think that people ought to be brave and crack on? And do you appreciate that kind of thing? Let me know in the comments below, or of course video responses would always be welcome. Take care guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.